If you're going to live a big ticket life and do business in life on your terms, you got to do big things. It's that kind of discernment, that kind of focus, that kind of forward thinking that's so important if you're going to succeed in business today. And so you unlock fortune and freedom without all the stress that normally comes along with it. The things that make your life successful so you do life and business on your terms. Mainstreet in an Amazon world. Welcome to day 2. Very excited to continue on with you. Apologies for a couple minutes late. Takes a whole lot of things that need to happen in the techno world to go really international. We had international guests join us yesterday watching. Productions down in Georgia, and I'm coming to you from Pennsylvania. So it takes a whole lot to bring it all together. But here we are. So happy to be here. Thank you, Monica, for carving out time to watch day 2. Really appreciate it. Monica's already on the tip. She's got her charity in. Here's how we're doing this. We do good while we're together learning. A big component of the big ticket life is giving back to your community, being in a place in your business and life to give back to others. So your comments on the show while we're live get you entered into a donation where I'm going to donate $100 to the person whose comment is selected at random. And you name your charity, and I'll donate $100 to them. So we did that yesterday. Actually, it was our international one of our international folks. They actually won, and it went to a charity that I really love, an animal rescue. I'm big into animal rescues. We've done fostering. There it is on the screen. So the viewer was from YouTube. Their username was Toy and Model. So looked like a toy model shop, which was great. Great to have a Main Street business join us, and great to see that charitable donation go to something that I'm passionate about. Doesn't matter. You can be passionate about your charity. So type your comments in where you're watching this. It's got to either be on the YouTube feed, the Big Ticket Life channel, or on my Facebook page. But enter it in there because that gets you into the StreamYard Prize-a-later at the end of the show. We'll hit Prize-a-late, and your comment, if it's chosen at random, I will donate $100 to your charity. All right. So commenting enters you to win. All right. So kicking off day 2, we had a whole lot from day 1, and we discussed what a ChEvO is, a Chief Everything Officer. Gave you a list to understand where those behaviors exist in sales, in operations, in the business of getting and keeping customers, and then really understanding if you're kind of burnt out on this behavior and it's truly time to let go. So we had those that we discussed. So we need to step away from that ChEvO behavior, that ChEvO mindset, stop wearing that stuff like a badge of honor, shift from the entrepreneur and owner you are into that investor seat in your business. So you get paid first, you make profit in your business, and you can do life and business on your terms and have your business serve you so you can serve everyone else you lead, everyone else you love, and the community around you. We also discussed at length the baggage that you might be carrying around, things that happened in the past that you bring forward with you today, and how you lead and how you respond to others. And a lot of times when we face these objections, when we get this pushback, we kind of internalize it, bring it right to the front, as though it was those people who caused issues of the past doing it to us again, right? So that baggage of those traumas, of those issues in the past, and how we respond, we need to understand it needs to be looked at maybe in a different way. How I think of it is my baggage and suitcase analogy, right? So you've got some days it's going to feel like a big old Samsonite, hard to move around. Other times a little more up-to-date roller bag. And then really when you're exceeding and moving past this stuff and being able to handle it and lead effectively, while not forgetting these issues, you look at it like it's one of those really cool modern swivel bags that weighs like 0.8 pounds, really easy to maneuver, got cool compartments. So you can work through the stuff that you're dealing with so you can better lead effectively, right? Because you're never going to forget this stuff. I'm not asking you to. I don't think you should. That's almost impossible, right? But we can decide how we're going to move forward today and better handle the things of the past that bring us down so we don't get brought down tomorrow, because that's a big part of leading a business effectively. It's a big part of winning on Main Street, because look, your bigger, more well-heeled competition, if they've got people that can't move past this, they just replace them. That's all there is to it, right? But you don't have that choice. You're into your business, you're into your life, you're into your family, obviously, and you need to be able to move forward. All right. So today is all about ways we're going to look to squish proof the business you have, build something that serves you first so that you can sustain serving all the others that depend on us. And some people might cringe at that. They might like be taken a little bit aback, like, serve me first. That sounds very selfish. It's not. I mean, listen, if you're not taking care of yourself, very few others around you actually will. I mean, if you're blessed to have close family, spouse, children that'll push you, that's fantastic. But understand, there's some people that don't quite have that. That's just not a dynamic in their relationship. So you need to be more interested in your success in the business of succeeding to lead, right? And be able to lead yourself, your business, your life effectively, so all of those around you who depend on you really can win with you. You do that life, you do that business on your terms, always. All right. So, agenda today, talk about the Main Street impact of things, why I so believe in the strength of Main Street. We're going to talk about some examples of how these big companies kind of come back to Main Street eventually to help themselves succeed. Going to talk about big ticket methodologies. There's sorry, I have a bad hand from breaking it all these years. I realize it doesn't, this is what happens when you break your hands riding dirt bikes as a kid. You can't do three. There we go. We'll go that way. 3 big ticket methodologies, growth assets, experiential touch points, and what I call E equals MC squared. We'll dig into what that means a little bit later. But first, let's talk about your big takeaway from day one. All right. I hope you had a lot of great takeaways from day one. I know yesterday we had some comments directly about the mindset of things, how to handle what's happened in the past. And there was gratitude for putting it in perspective, maybe in a different way, right? That baggage analogy. And again, we're not going backwards into day one, but again, think about the things that bother you. And I can't ask you to forget them, and I don't think you should, but you just might decide that you're going to handle it differently today. You're going to pack it away differently so you can better lead. Monica says, don't let business own you. You own the business, set boundaries, and don't feel guilty. Very good. Live life and don't let business steal time and money that sacrifices you from family. That is big ticket living right there, Monica. And I know Monica cares immensely about her customers. My business partner is a customer of hers. And I've seen firsthand, I overheard firsthand how she takes care of her customers. She's a travel agent helping people make amazing memories with their families, focused on Disney, but also does many other things. So if you're into a wonderful Disney vacation with an expert, check out Monica Fort here in the comments. Link up with her in the comments where you're watching this. All right. So remember the comments enter you into the prizelator. That's my word. I TM'd it. Where we pick a random winner at the end of the day. And any of the examples that I'm going to show, and I've got a whole bunch here laid out, go to thebigticketlife.com/swipe file. I'll email you here as the week wraps up about a presentation next week that we'll do together on Zoom. And we'll take a deeper dive into all these examples, because in our hour here today, we need to kind of go fast, go through all this stuff. But I do want to over deliver. And really, because I so believe in the power of Main Street, I so believe in these 3 aspects of big ticket methodologies: growth assets, experiential touch points, and E equals MC squared, that it would be disingenuous for me to not spend a little more time on them. So bigticketlife.com, right there on your screen, /swipe file. Simple page for you to get access and get linked up with me for that presentation next week that we'll do. All right. So moving along, today we're going to address how Amazon big box equity funded competition, with how we handle that kind of competition with what I use, how I help other business owners look at their business, these big ticket methodologies, how we use these to kind of push back, take back our place on Main Street and own it and win consistently and constantly against bigger, more well-heeled, better financed, larger type competition, right? You know, there's that battle on Main Street right now. It kind of feels like David versus Goliath. And I said yesterday, you know, our larger, more well-financed competition, right? The big box competition, your equity bank owned competition, Wall Street competition, they live life with a different checkbook, right? Our checkbook as Main Street type business owners, small business owners, we got to balance that checkbook daily. Okay. What comes in has to be more than what goes out. And you can look to grow your business and understand I'm not against using debt, using equity partners to grow a business. I think there's a time and a place for it. However, if you're operating your business on Main Street right now and you're not in that growth and scaling mode, this is the battle you face. This is the David versus Goliath. This is the dynamic. You got to balance your checkbook. They don't. They can say, we're growing, we're slashing losses, we're adjusting EBITDA, we're cutting workforce, we're cutting benefit, footprint, and all of the Wall Street money and equity fund types, they eat that stuff up because they're looking for that 5 to 7 year play. Whereas you need to look for that 5 to 7 day play, right? Your checkbook's got to balance. If it can't balance today, it's certainly got to balance in 5 to 7 days, most likely as your payables go out and your receivables come in. So that's the battle we're in. So right now, if you're watching, on this, type in who your biggest as a comment. Again, gets you in for the little donation raffle that we'll do at the end. But who is your biggest competition, and why is it that you feel that way? You know, let's kind of talk on that. Chris, we'll bring you on for those that didn't get to watch day one or maybe tuned in and tuned out when Chris wasn't on the screen. So we've gotten to know each other fairly well. When it comes to Main Street, what do you think of the battle on Main Street?
Well, what's interesting, Jeff, and what I love about the business that I'm in is that I get to deal with a diverse amount of people. It's not just, a business in general. I deal with varying types of people in sales. And I got to meet you through a dear friend of ours now, Pete Primo. Shout out to Pete Primo on that. And, one of the things, and I've gotten to know you, as you said, fairly well here over the last 4 or 5 months with Lancaster Connects and what we're doing with you and Ben. And one of the things that I noticed is that you are constantly talking about the battle on Main Street, and you're constantly talking about Main Street business. And I don't think I've ever asked you this. I don't think I've ever really known this, but I'm really interested, and I'm hoping that everybody watching here is interested as well. Is why is it so important to you? Why is Main Street business so important to you?
Yeah. So, for me, it's really kind of foundational childhood memory stuff. As a kid, the funnest, safest, most memorable place was going to my grandparents' house, and their neighborhood was kind of like Mayberry, right? Small little farm town. I was actually born in Canada, so small little farm town, kind of in north central Ontario, and growing up there, it was like everybody knew everybody. Main Street was the hub. You would go, grandma would send me uptown to grab some butcher order from the butcher, literally. Like, this is not movie stuff. This is the life I lived. I'd go to the hardware store. My grandfather's a cabinet maker. He would call in and say, Jeff's going to come up this afternoon and get this. So I'd grab screws and washers and maybe a replacement saw blade for a bandsaw type of thing. I'd go to the corner store, get a little candy type of thing. And it was just so cool to see all these different people. I knew them from going to church with my grandparents. I knew them from doing the carnivals and the picnics and all that stuff. And it was just so foundational for me to see how these people work together, how they lift each other up, how when one is struggling, the others rally around,
Mm.
how the connection is there through work, through faith, through friendship, family connection. So it's that Main Street in that town keeps that town together to this day. I mean, it really does. And I'm not silly enough. Like, Mayberry is dying. There's no doubt about that, right? We now construct shopping plazas to look like it, but you got to drive a highway. You got to drive through immense traffic to get there. But that doesn't mean we can't still win on Main Street, right? Like, that doesn't mean Main Street still doesn't have its place. And when you look at some of these big owned companies, they're coming back to Main Street. Like in my
Yeah.
retail industry and retail life that I live, there's a lot of disruptors and online mattress companies that we co-partner with a couple of them, and they see retail growth as how they continue to grow and how they continue to reduce advertising costs. Dollar Shave Club is, you don't really see them on television selling direct anymore. They're back in your grocery aisle,
Right.
right? And things like that, like, continue to evolve, and there's value in Main Street, and there's value in what people watching today do, listening today do on Main Street, and they contribute back to their community. There's a banner we printed up to put outside of our store that, Amazon doesn't sponsor your kid's baseball team or, choir winter rehearsal, right? It's the local businesses that do that, and there's a reason why that dynamic still exists. It's because they're there to help the community survive, thrive, and be a community, and that's why it's important to me.
That's amazing. And some of these big companies that are outside of Main Street now started, and grew and did some of the things that you're talking about in order to get there
Yep.
as well. And I think sometimes we forget about that. And it's great to see some of these other big companies giving back and trying to. They realize the importance of some of these more independent businesses and how people are, sort of gravitating towards a more personal thing where it applies. So thanks for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had no idea about that, so I was excited to hear the
Yep.
answer on that.
Yep. Very good. All right. Well,
We do have a comment here, and for those who are watching, and we see that our folks are watching. So if you're lurking and you're feeling a little bit timid about hacking something out on the keyboard, it's just between us and a couple million people, so don't worry about it. But if you hammer out your favorite charity in the chat of if you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, and let us know what your favorite charity is. Jeff is donating $100 to your favorite charity. All you got to do is tell us what that is in the chat. Just participate in the chat. We're firing up the prizelator. I got to fill it up with gas. That's a trademark from Jeff Janakovo. But we do have a comment here again from Monica. Thanks for your participation today. Here's Monica's competitors right here, Jeff.
yep. Yeah, I mean, even in the travel industry, things like this exist where you've got Costco. Monica's a travel agent. She's got Costco as a big box store that competes against her as a travel agent. There's the faceless brands of travel, she says, Expedia, Priceline, Hotwire. So she's got it coming from the brick and mortar presence, right, and from the online presence. But again, I share this because we all know that we've got something special to deliver. We all know that there is something unique about how we affect business and truly help our customers and our clients and our patients. And I say patients because Amazon even sells Invisalign now, right? And they have for a number of years. So, like, even dentists face this, right? So as we get into it, let's talk about the big ticket methodology. As I said here on the board, we've got growth assets, experiential touch points, and what I call E equals MC squared, which is really about making the complex appear as simple, designing complexity within your business that you overmanage, but your customer and your team gets it, and it is so simple to communicate. All right, so we're going to get into all three of those right now, though. I want to get into growth assets, right? So let's talk about what growth assets are and why you should really have a growth asset or more in your business. So let's take a step back on this. There's really tiers of selling positions, right? There's tiers to affect how we do business. There's boxes we all can fit in. There's celebrity selling, right? This is what I call the Kardashian-ing, all right, of your business. Okay, this is where your celebrity overshadows everything. You have massive following, and if you just put some lipstick on your Instagram, you sell millions of units of lipstick, right? That's celebrity type selling, endorsed selling. There's authority selling. These are experts. This is where we as Main Street business owners can live and thrive if we accept that we can be the authority and the expert in our community, in our market. There's the disruptors. Okay, this is your direct to consumer. This is your online stuff. I referenced one of them already: Dollar Shave Club, Harry's Razors. There's Casper Mattress that you might have heard of, Purple Mattress, and hundreds of others in my retail industry. But there's pet food companies like Chewy that take sales off of the grocery store shelf. All of these things kind of exist, and all of these things, as we've now learned, kind of eventually come back to the shelf, come back to Main Street, and it's part of a model. There's distribution experts, right? Amazon being a distribution expert. They're not always the cheapest. I think some folks think they are. I think that's an option, but really what they're buying into is the solution, the ease, the click, click, ding dong, it's at my door, right? And then there's price leaders like Walmart, okay? So when we're thinking about selling positions, where is it easy for the Main Street owner to fit, okay? For me, the easiest place to fit out of those is that authority position. And you exude authority by demonstrating your expertise, and you do that with growth assets that we're going to talk about here momentarily, right? So if you can't be that Kardashian, if you can't be that disruptor, if you can't fill those other positions, and I don't know why anybody would want to be the price leader, because that is just a life of frustration. I mean, if you're not paying attention, shipping costs are through the roof, so much so that the dollar store has now moved everything in their store to $1.25. So a 25% increase in retail price. I mean, if you live by the price, you die by the price. You need to live by the experience so you succeed with experience. Okay. And that is exuded when you demonstrate that you're an authority. Now, some people think about displaying themselves as an authority as being a manufactured expert, right? And they get kind of queasy about that. And you shouldn't, because everything in this world is highly manufactured, right? We touched yesterday on the metaverse and the algorithms of what we are shown and what our tech overlords would like us to see, right? So everything's manufactured. Even celebrity is manufactured. It's all supported by a big machine to keep certain people at the heights of the A list, and then they get moved down to the C list and then brought back up to the A list. So get over that feeling. If you do good stuff, if you know deep down that you constantly and consistently deliver a great experience, then you are obligated to share it. Because if you care about Main Street in your community, if you care about your neighbors, you owe it to your neighbors to demonstrate your ability to help them as best you can when they're ready to purchase what you have. That is your obligation. And to not accept it and to not step into it, I feel is a disservice to your community. All right. So organizing how you help in demonstrating is important. So right now, I want to share some of what I'm talking about with these growth assets. We're talking about authority type books. And I want to give a shout out to my dear friend, Mike Puzzi, who's a little under the weather at the moment. But, this is the guy that's pushed me to put growth assets into the business. I mean, here are all of his authoritative and expertise driven books. He's a big believer in Main Street. I mean, right there, the Main Street author book. This is his library of books, 6, 7 of them at least. There's many more, but this is just what I pulled off of his corner on my shelf today. There's other great people in my network. Josh Luther, Empowerment Journal. Ryan Stewman, G Code. Groom for Greatness, Jonathan Loudermilk. Dante Smiley, Becoming Unfuckwittable. That's right, that's the title. Go look it up. Becoming Iconic, Chris Whitehead. Unfuck Your Business, Thomas Keenan. These are all books written by people who sell face-to-face, do business on Main Street, work with Main Street business type owners. They're all exuding authority and they all do fantastic work. There's no reason this can't be done for you. In my retail business, what I've done is really doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on growth assets. They're the foundation of our industry. We started out years ago with our mattress buyer's guide. This was a very simple guide, the very first thing we produced. And when I say growth assets, I mean, these are assets in your business. And I know you can't see this, and this is why it's important to jump over to the bigticketlife.com/swipe file, because we'll go through all these examples more intentionally and you can ask questions and I can answer. But in our hour today, I want to just show you what you need to do and why it's important for your business. So this was our very first buyer's guide, produced way back in 2011. We spent a lot of money, what we felt was a lot of money back then. It was $5,000 just for the design and layout of it. I spent the time writing the copy, which there was an investment there, and then we had to print them up. And so that asset, though, we've been using every day since for 10 years. And it's something that still to this day drives business for our stores. Then we decided to step our game up, and we have our Sleep Better book. So this is chock full of tips on how to sleep better. Again, if I truly care about helping Lancaster County, where my retail business exists, to improve their lives through better sleep, to wake up happy, so they lead a more productive life, a more fulfilled life. I truly believe that, and I do because we say it. My actions better represent it. So we have the Sleep Better book. And we've had people get this book, and they have said, and you can see on the screen here where we showcase this, we have had customers say they got the book, they've adopted tips into their sleep routine, they see immediate impact, so they're going to delay their purchase. That's perfectly fine. You know, the reality is I know they're going to need to replace their mattress because those new routines and new habits into the routine, rather, is only going to take them so far if the mattress is hurting their overall sleep. So, but I'm perfectly fine to have people tell me, I got your free book, but I'm not going to buy. I am sleeping better. I am waking up happier. I am more productive. To me, that's very, very important. Other things you can do are tip sheets, right? Like, so you do something special. Maybe you feel that you don't have the ability to write a 100-page, simple 1 to 2 hour read type book. And understand, growth assets aren't about producing War and Peace level stuff, right? This is not you dumping every ounce and every tidbit of knowledge that you have. This is about meeting your potential customer or client where they are in the moment, and intentionally giving information that says, you know what, you have an issue and I have a solution, and I can help you move that question, that problem, that need forward right now with this information. All right. So it doesn't need to be everything you know. It just needs to be something to truly help the person and showcase you're an option that begs attention. And then, you know, we'll work through the other two aspects of big ticket methodology where you can help that person understand that you are the best fit. Tip sheets are another one. So this is a bigger version. Oops. It's a bigger version of our tip sheet. So we have a 7-step wake up happy promise. We've defined, and I suggest if you take anything away from today, you develop what your process is and communicate it. What are the steps that guarantee the outcome you promise to give, and then communicate it. To complement our buyer's guides, we have 2 others. We niche this down into natural mattresses. We niche this down into adjustable bed bases. Now, you might be thinking, Jeff, I'm not a mattress person. Is this just like for mattress people? It's not. I'm going to ask you to open the mind a little bit and see what we just did there. We niched it down into specificity. I said a minute ago, this isn't about creating war and peace. This isn't about dumping everything you know. It's about meeting people where they are. So a very simple way to go, a simple thing that you can communicate would be a tip sheet, right? Your steps to guarantee the outcome that your team can affect, that your team can deliver on, that they won't skip, and that your customer understands and sees as valuable. Start there, build from there. And then it dovetails into a buyer's guide, into a certain product, into a certain service. And you begin to build this library of assets. And we've been using these things for years and years now. Something else that can be done is like a special report. So this is more of an infographical special report. You know, we actually offer a private labeled a CBD product in our business because it does help me. It helps others rest easier. It helps the inflammation and things like that. So you can create almost special report type of thing around different niche services, different niche offerings. Other things that exist in growth assets, pass along books. So this is just little proverbs, little short sayings about the power of sleep. It's a gift that we give to our customers upon buying, and it's something that can be passed along. All right. And then something I'm most proud of, because this is a newer addition to the library of growth assets that is just so very cool. This is our reviews. And, you know, in 2021, or these are our reviews. That was terrible English. Anyway, so our reviews, we have a number of reviews online on Google and on Facebook. We have a whole system to collect them, but we have a very unique system to collect handwritten reviews. And if you go to, I think we can bring up on the screen this page. There we go. So you might see something similar here in my hand to what you're seeing on screen. So these are handwritten reviews. And we consistently have people mail back half a dozen to a dozen of these a week. So we decided, why? There we go. Yeah, you can see that better on the screen. So what you're seeing on your screen right now is I call these fan books. So we've got a happy buying experience, volumes 1 and 2. We've got back pain solved. And we've got mattress replacement success, right? So I said a minute ago, meet your prospect, your client, your customer where they are. Demonstrate how you can help them. So if you've consistently got people coming into your business with back pain or a certain specific need, like in my business with back pain, right? Demonstrate you help others in that exact situation. Demonstrate it, showcase it, drop it in their lap. Look, the digital age is wonderful. Online reviews are wonderful. Everybody can do that. How you win on Mainstreet is differentiation. And being able to put something like that in somebody's hands demonstrates your authority and your expertise. And I hope you saw that through the whole package I've just showcased. When you can demonstrate that authority and that expertise, you really shift yourself from that position of selling into a position of affirmation. And I work with my team and the people that I work with, you know, counsel, consult, coach. I tell them often today in 2021, in an Amazon world, you know, the old school tenets of selling are pretty much, you know, they're kind of on life support. We can't be the hammer. We can't be the hard sell because there's just so much information out there that your client, your prospect comes in, they're kind of armed with, and they feel as though they've got that lob back they can make to you because the internet said this. You need to guide your business into a position of affirmation at every step. When people find you online through advertising, when they find you offline through advertising, you need to affirm all along the way, from the start to the end, that you've got the right fit. You have the right solution. The information they, as your potential customer, might bring forth, you can help them organize those thoughts, help them understand, well, going down that path isn't a fit for how you've described. Like if you're a pool installer, right? Well, maybe that design isn't the best fit for a young family. It looks amazing. It looks relaxing. You'll notice it's all adults. There's no children in that picture. And here's the reason why. Now, that's the kind of thing with growth assets when you can communicate and demonstrate. And all of these things, you've seen the book, you've seen the fan books, everything that I've shown you exists on our website. It exists as an asset that we advertise. All of these things can go and be used in an online world to bring people into your face-to-face environment, whether that's a store, an office, an in-home presentation. All of it blends very well. So I just said about putting it online. So I'm real proud of this. We use a pay-per-click ad for our Sleep Better book. And this ad drives a 8% on average click-through rate monthly for us, which, if you know anything about pay-per-click advertising, that's a big number. And it is. For our industry, it's 2 to 4 times the average click-through rate for our industry peers in the furniture and mattress trade. So this is an ad that consistently works. And when I say it's an asset, I mean it's an asset. And you can kind of see the little phone. I'm not sure, Chris, if we can zoom in a little better. There we go. So you can see this is what the user would see. And that ad consistently drives just a tremendous click-through rate. So when I talk about growth assets, I'm talking about things that you create one time. You might revisit them as time goes along and edit and update, but you create that momentum one time and it continues to roll and continues to show your customer you're the fit, you're the right place, because you actually do deliver. Like, that's everything I've said. I should have prefaced. If you're into ripping people off, jump off the line right now. Like, you have to deliver good stuff, and you have to be able to showcase and demonstrate it, with social proof, right? With reviews and proof from your customers. If you can't do that, this is not going to really work for you. But when you can and when you do, it really propels your business in a way that is unlike anything else that you have likely considered. Jonna, thanks for tuning in. Definitely, I agree. It is an asset. And these are things that you can do for yourself as well, right? So the other thing that I want to show before I move on is how we bridge the gap. So Chris, let's bring up this Sleep Better site for the Sleep Better book opt-in page. And I said this, this transcends digital online world to offline world to Mainstreet. So right here, you go to our site, you request that free copy, we mail it out to you. And this is the system, right? This is the package. So we mail the book. We've got the envelope. We've got a couple little items inside that touch on bringing people back into the store, a little letter. Okay. This is why it's important to get on that swipe file presentation. So the bigticketlife.com/swipe file. So that's where we'll do more of this and dive deeper into everything that I'm showing. But when you go to that site, you give your name and email, we'll send that book. We create a lead. See, the problem, like, I'm proud of that pay-per-click ad, but they're just clicks until they become somebody who requests the package. That's not worth a whole lot to me. So I work to get the clicks up. I work to get the packages up. And I work to get all of the door swings up through that effort. So Chris just went to that site, entered his information, I believe. When you hit submit, you just kind of come back to the Big Ticket Life website. But yeah, bigticketlife.com/swipe file. We'll dig all into this stuff more granularly. Today is about what you need to do, why it's important, so you have those tools to win on Mainstreet. All right. So take away from this section on growth assets as we move along, right? So we've talked about the impact you have and should look to have on Mainstreet, demonstrated a handful of growth assets, ways to build your library of success, ways to demonstrate to your customer. You are the fit. You can affirm for them you are the right fit, because you have to do good stuff. And I believe everybody tuning in does do good work, right? So the next one we'll cover, but before we move, we'll cover experiential touch points. But before we move on, does anybody on the line right now, anybody have a growth asset that they use? If you do, type it in the comments. Maybe you have a book, maybe you have a tip sheet. It could be a video that you produced, right? Like, to produce video is very easy today as it was years ago. Again, a little plug for my friend Chris on the line. If you're into producing content like this for your business, I can't endorse Chris enough from Cast Ahead. He's great. So he's been commenting too a little bit. So be sure to connect with him if you have that need. But if you have an asset, type it in. And we'll read it out as we move along. But again, in typing in the comments gets you in for the donation raffle at the end. So yeah, type in growth assets. Chris, any thoughts there as we put a bow on the growth asset section?
Yeah, this is something I think is great to spend a little time on for those that are chiming in. If you have any growth assets, please do that. Monica here. Oh, Monica, my people. She's got a podcast, Jeff. Monica is my people. I love that. That is a fantastic growth asset, and one that I know Jeff does a couple of those, and this one included. Maybe this is a good segue for you to let Monica know that you have a new one of these forthcoming.
That's right, the Big Ticket Life podcast, and you're going to want to tune in. The nice thing is we've already got people in a pattern of joining us starting on a Tuesday, because that's when we started yesterday. So next Tuesday it launches, and I've got just an amazing, amazing guy coming on. You absolutely have to tune in.
But I think Monica, that's a great one, and I could take up the rest of our time, but this is Jeff's show, and talk about how amazing a podcast can do for search engine optimization, and just getting yourself out there just by getting a microphone and sticking it in all the places. But Jeff, a lot of people that are watching and listening, they know that this is something that they should do. They jump on YouTube, they jump on their socials, they listen to other podcasts, and everybody's telling them, well, you got to do this thing, you got to do this thing, you got to do this thing. And you gave some really good examples that you have done with gardeners over the years, and some have been successful, and you probably have tried some stuff that maybe was not so successful, right? But like, where should people start? So maybe they're a business that is a little bit stuck. Or maybe they're a new business and they're like, well, I know I need to get some growth assets. Where should people start?
Well, it was very subtle, and I touched on it with the pool example, because it was a real life example. I worked with a pool contractor years ago, and in extracting that discussion, it was, look, we're going to work together, we're going to build success together. Let's not immediately focus on that goal line. Let's talk about how you help people right away. What do you bring them that they don't even think about? What are the should ask questions every person in front of you as a business owner should be asking? And like that pool example, about if you're going to put a pool in, it's very important to understand where your family's at. Because where I was going with that example is there's safety features that are very important for children that adults don't necessarily need to worry about. Conversely, as adults get older, there's additional safety features because mobility becomes a problem. I worked with another gentleman who did kitchen cabinet remodeling. And if you don't understand as somebody buying a new kitchen, that when you're left-handed, every kitchen is designed, every software is mostly designed to lay out for right-handed people. I said, well, what we really ought to focus on is left-handed kitchens, like specificity, right? So that became a little sub niche of his business, and he just crushed it. We like doubled his kitchen volume. So what you're an expert at and what you can demonstrate is where you begin. And I always say the hardest part is in the start in anything. Designing a tip sheet, sitting down, pen to paper, layout. What is your process? Like, this is our 7-step wake up happy promise. And think about what your process is to guarantee and yield the best result. Start there, and then you can build off of it. So that's what I would say to that.
Yeah, I mean, well, just to close that loop, and we've got a comment here from Monica as well. And for those of you who are watching or just now joining, if you hit us up in the chat here with your favorite charity, Dr. Jeff Janakovo here is donating $100 to that charity. This is from yesterday, day one. Fantastic charity from North, is it Cloyd Animal Rescue, which is a fantastic charity that Jeff has donated $101. $101. Not just,
Yeah,
it just
the
wasn't good
$1
enough for
was,
100.
well, the $1 was for the credit card fee.
Right.
So,
But just to circle back and close the loop on what you're saying,
yep.
like it's maybe start a little simple, but always keep in mind the customer, right? Everything that you're talking about, you noticed something that was a pain point for someone else and looked to create something that was an asset that could help them. You looked at somebody that was left-handed in the kitchen, or you looked at something that, in a pool. It's like, look, let's not just leave it here and do what everyone else is doing. How can we think about something else that somebody else needs and create some growth asset that helps deliver that and may be completely original, that's like those books, which I think is a fantastic idea. So, but the comment here from Monica here is for her podcast. She's taking her episodes and putting them into a book. Fantastic repurposing. I love
I was
that.
going to say, yeah, there's an immense amount of transcription software out there that's low cost to maybe free, just depends on the time and the amount. But that, I was going to say, that podcast, you could make a tip sheet out of families, couples, anniversaries. I'm sure, Monica, you've done episodes on all of that. There you go. You probably have 3 or 4 special reports, special tip sheets right there. Yep.
And we have a new entry in the prize-a-later from the Mattress Industry Network, our buddy Steve Hauk. And
Welcome, Steve.
thanks for joining. And
Yep.
that's a fantastic charity, the Boise Rescue Mission Ministries. Sounds awesome. I'm going to have to Google that one.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll move on to the experience. So I said earlier here, today selling, and really expert of selling, authoritative selling, is putting yourself always in that position to affirm, right? Affirm the process. Our whole thing that we do in our business, in our retail business, is tell me why you're shopping for a new mattress. Tell me why that brand is important to you. Tell me why you feel you need this. And what that does, 2 things, is it takes the pressure away. It takes it off of what we want to sell or what we want to show, which is never what we want to do. We always want to find the right fit. So that simple phrase of tell me is very simple, because no one really needs to be sold today. With the information at hand, what they truly need is a tour guide. They need someone to help organize that information that they've learned. And by and large, even if the information that they've arrived at is through like clickbaity, paid advertising aspect of things, most of it is in the lane of truth. It's in the lane of being right. It's not wholly, completely wrong. We may not like how it got in front of our customer. And my industry friends, we don't like how the whole paid advertising space has taken over. But at the end of the day, a lot of what's said isn't all that objectionable. It's very unfair how it arrives to the customer, but the information is there and the customer just reading it. So it's our job to kind of guide. It's our job to help organize. One of the things we do, Chris, let's show the home screen. And this is what I'm talking about, affirming and creating an experience right away. So the home screen of Gardner's Mattress and More, please, if we could. So if we go there, we're just greeting the customer right away. Which mattress is the best fit for you? Or what mattress is best for you is the question there. I'm sorry. And when we put this on the site, really what we did is we took this little flashing box on the right of your screen and just put it right front and center on that banner and asked that question. Take the quiz. And this shifted the experience of our website entirely for our users. See, and experience matters everywhere. It's not just the experience of buying the actual product. It's the experience of how they find you. Does what they search through the ad they clicked matched up to what they see on your website? That is an experience that leads to success. So putting that right on our site, we saw the leads online. Again, I said, we all know clicks don't pay the bills. People with money in hand pay our bills in our business. They drive it forward. They allow us to succeed, and they allow our businesses to help our community. So if you're not working to win that battle in every way, you're failing. Another experience I touched on is the greetings, how you talk, how you speak to people, the mood you bring forth, right? That tell me, that use of tell me why you're here. Tell me why a pool is important to you. I have another example. If you were to buy a Natuzzi leather sofa today from a true Natuzzi gallery, I worked with a local Natuzzi dealer here in Pennsylvania a few years back. And I put in this experience of selling their fine furniture. I said, let's talk with your customers about how they use. Tell me how you use your living room. I'll go back to my grandmother. My grandmother's living room was a sacred living room, right? And that sacred room, like the carpet was old, but it still had the vacuum lines in it. It was beautiful furniture, beautiful room. That was the sacred room. My living room is like Grand Central Station. We eat in there, sometimes do work in there. The kids are in there. The pets are in there. Other people, couples, like power couples, it's kind of like an office more than anything. I said, so why aren't we setting up rooms, how people are actually going to use the stuff they buy? Let's stop with the nice little fake plants and the lamps and the area rugs, and every sofa is set up in that same way. Let's stop with that. Why don't we allow the people in the business to experience how they're going to use it? Isn't that more connective? So your whole process and the way you demonstrate your product needs to match how your customer is going to use it. All right. Even your sales process can be experiential. Chris, we'll go to the about page, the link you had up momentarily a few moments ago. We start out having a conversation. Again, it's all around, tell me why you're shopping for a mattress. And if we scroll down, you'll see a pic of our lounge in our store. Now you think a mattress store with a lounge, what's that about? Well, it's all about, we just need an understanding. Here it is. We need to understand how a new mattress is going to change your life. What's your expectation of it? Let's sit down in a comfortable place and just have a conversation. See if we are a fit to do business together. And sometimes we're just not. That's okay. The people that we're not a fit for are folks that, really look at just spending, not that we need to spend a lot, but folks that, they view a new mattress purchase as $100. Like that's not, I don't have anything, especially in this day and age with price increases. I don't have anything that I can offer you and feel good about, So those are the kinds of folks that aren't necessarily a fit for our retail business. And you need to have clear understanding and be confident to say that. There's a good friend in our industry, Trent Betting in Kentucky. If he doesn't put it in his house, he's not putting it in yours. That's his line. And I really like that. We need to be able to say who we're a fit for and who we're not. And again, that specificity really works well. When it comes down to your closing process, how you affect the sale, where it's done, how you move it forward. Closing a sale on Mainstreet today, remember, it's real easy to close online, right? Click, click, ding, ding, I said earlier as we opened up the show today. It needs to be confirming that your solution fills the need. And really, the simple question should be, when do we start? When do you want this product at home? When would you like the kitchen to be rebuilt? When would you like to get your financial planning in order? It's that last step in the affirmation process. It actually should be the easiest, most comfortable question that you can ask, is when you're asking for the sale. And if it's not, you've probably skipped over some steps in what should be a really great sales process. Okay. One of the things that we do when people are hesitant, where they're not 100% sure it's the right fit, we offer our dream room as a next step. So this is actually a room in our retail location. This is another experience that affirms we're the right fit. No other business will go to this length to assure you've got the right fit for the purchase. So our dream room, as you can see, we allow couples to go in there, read a book, take a nap, watch television. Please don't do anything you don't want grandma to see. And they can lock the door and use that room and get comfortable. Another experience. There's ways to carve experience in everything you do, in every way you sell, how you work with the customer at the various steps. Even in a no sale process, where there's an opportunity for a quote, you haven't inked the deal. How you follow up matters, and you should be following up first and foremost. But how you follow up matters. What you send in the mail, what you text, what you email out, how you call, right? It should just all be, what's the next step? What's the next step? Have we missed an important part? What question have we not answered? And even down to delivery and fulfillment, right? Like, this is where the lasting impression has had. My business partner, Ben, was very excited. They bought a wonderful new home a couple of years ago. The one room they had, they struggled with light. They had a crew in the house to put windows in. And, the crew had a pretty bad mouth, sailor mouth. They were swearing a lot. Like, that's an experience that was negative, and it could have been a lot better. These kinds of things we don't need to do self-inflicted wounds with, right? If we focus on experience, we focus on every one of these steps as part of the process and say, how do we best affirm we're the fit? The experience just blossoms out and becomes so incredible. People can't help but to do business with you, and they can't help to review and refer. And again, I hope that what I've shared with you in this experience section is backed up. I mean, I make bold statements. I don't know of many other businesses, really of any type, that amass the social proof in a digital age, in an Amazon world. We actually have more of these reviews than we do the online reviews. And I know that says something about our process. It endorses and backs up what I've shared with you today. The fact that people take the time out to mail back in an envelope, put a stamp on, write out what's in it, and mail it back to us says something about the process, about this methodology of honing in on the experience at every step. It says something that there is value there, and they see it. And I hope that you would emulate it for your business. If you're not getting reviews, if you're not getting referrals, there's a problem there, because your experience should be so great that rule of reciprocity comes into place, right? And we need to be able to ask. Again, if it's hard to ask, right, if you feel uncomfortable with it, it probably means the process and the experience isn't so great. So we need to make it easy to ask, and you need to kind of dig in deeper on the things that happen before that. And then take care of your customers. I like to say we love on our customers. You leave our business with a little thank you bag. We've got a really great coffee tumbler in it. Okay. And this is where we give that magic of sleep, little proverb, sleep proverb inspiration book. But that's not it. Depending on what you spend and invest with our store, we're going to mail out gifts in the mail. This is the Caramels gift. In the interest of time, I'll show one. Again, we'll dig into more of these in our swipe file presentation. So bigticketlife.com/swipe files. You'll sign up and I'll get a link out to you where we'll do a live session. But we mail these out. Caramels, brownies, just in the interest of time. There's the brownies box, and chocolate covered pretzels. Okay. And all of these have a thank you card. Okay. Thank you with a tear off referral card to further the process, which dovetails into our E equals MC squared portion. But before I move on, I want to take a break, get a sip of water. Chris, I'm sure you have questions. I wasn't really keeping up with the comments too much, but
Right.
loving,
Yeah.
so like wowing your customers is important for the experience. It truly is. And we still do handwritten thank you cards. Even with all of that,
Awesome.
it goes out. And if you don't buy something, you get the handwritten thank you card. And there's some letters that come out too. We'll touch on that on the swipe file presentation.
Yeah, it's obviously a great touch, and I got a nice little handwritten note from you when I got my Sleep Better book as well. I mean, I think it's like going that little extra. I mean, it doesn't take that much minute. We'll take a few minutes extra to swipe up and down on our Instagram feed, or swipe up and down, with the remote control or whatever we're doing. But I think taking an extra half second and doing something like that is super important for your business for sure. And I think you and I have talked about experiential stuff before, and you brought up Disney as an
Mhm.
example. You brought up, and I know you're a big Disney fan. I'm a big Disney fan as well. It almost sounds like you're suggesting maybe a Disney like atmosphere, yet more of a Main Street mold. I mean, am I right there? Can you maybe take that and
Yeah,
see how
yeah.
that
I
might
mean,
apply?
you should be looking to Disneyfy your business. And we have a Disney specialist in Monica watching today. So she's going to eat this up. But there's down in my downstairs office, I have a little picture quote from Walt Disney: "Do what you do so well, others can't help but tell others about you, or tell others about you." Um, and that's really what your experience process needs to do. People have to, they're compelled to share the positive experience. The reciprocity comes into play, and that's when you're operating on all cylinders. But when you when you're really doing the experience right, it's not. And again, I look at my business, mattresses, which has, the last 5 to 10 years, our industry has looked to commoditize that as much as possible. I mean, these things are now sold in the aisles of grocery stores now. Um, it doesn't get much more commodity than that when you sit beside milk and bread. And so who you are matters as much, if not more so, than what you do. Because when you dial in on who you are and how you best help, and most importantly, can showcase it, let your customers do the talking. That's when your experience, just like I said, blossoms out and just shines through. So it's about who you are, how you help, and your customer sees it and feels it and talks about it. That's what's very, very important here. That's when you've kind of Disneyfied the business.
I love it. And Monica also wants to know who you use to publish your books. I don't know if you want to give away that secret sauce here on the Big Ticket Life, but
Okay.
that was mulling around in my head as well,
Yeah.
Monica. You and I are
There's
simpatico.
yeah, there's not a one size fits all answer there. There's uh I've got like 4 or 5 resources. It just depends on what it is. Like if it's the buyer's guides, like there's a source for that. There's a different source for these. The Sleep Better book has one. So there's distinct things for what it is. Hit me up. You know how to get a hold of me, and we'll talk about what you want to do, and I'll point you in the right direction. All right. So last thing, we're over time, Chris. I hope we can go maybe to 10 more minutes. Is that okay? I know you put a buffer in. I think people want to hang in here with us. We still need to
Yeah,
do the
we're good.
prize donation. Okay. Yep.
We're good.
I went a little longer on the growth assets because that's the big chunk, right? Like when you've got I'm just going to show this as a stack. I'm not going to start peeling it out. But when you've got all these things working for your business, they really are foundational. They become something to be relied upon. And you can pull parts and pieces of your growth assets out and use it in your experience, use it to help sell, use it to help get new customers. It's so foundational. It's kind of like the hub in a wheel, and your wheel is made to spin faster and bear more weight by plugging in more spokes, more growth assets, faster wheel, more weight, goes faster, longer, and you have a bigger, better business, right? When we add the experience on, it just really becomes unstoppable. But then you got to manage it. And that's the last one, E equals MC squared, right? So I've heard this quote from my marketing mentor and friend, Dan Kennedy. The depth and complexity of your process equals the staying power, profitability, and sanity for you. Now, in 2021, where everything has been made to be simple, that might sound counterintuitive. It might actually sound like dispensing old advice. But the reality is everything that does appear simple has such complexity behind it. If you think about what gets presented to you, like if you're happen to be talking about some random item, what happens later in the day in your news feed in Facebook or in the display network where you go to websites? You start seeing ads. And if you're not tuned in, you're like, oh, that's great. I was looking for, to buy a lawnmower. And here it is. That's very simple, but the complexity behind it is deep. And for us on Mainstreet, having these systems in place really can help us to squish proof the business, right? Like I said yesterday, talked about Kevin O'Leary, his line on Shark Tank. They're going to squish you like the bug that you or the cockroach that you are. Because most businesses that come on the pitch deck, they do not have the patents. They don't have the IPs. They're not really doing anything special. They quickly realize their run rate for money is going to exhaust. And they could be in that business tomorrow by simply writing a check themselves, as opposed to writing a check and only having 5 or 10% equity. So when you build a business around process, when you build a business around complexity, it does become simple when you do it the right way. When you put it into a process where the expectation and goal is communicated to your team and the outcome is made simple and looks easy. All right. And everybody along the way needs to understand the plain English steps. They need to understand the expectations themselves. And it has to be easy and have visual reminders even around your environment, your selling space, your back pocket. All right. Clipboards, checklists, things like that. What I mean by clipboards and checklists right here. So when we sit down in our lounge, and I purposely save this to the end. And again, you're not going to see this. This is why bigticketlife.com/swipe file is important, because we're going to dig into it. We sit down with a clipboard. Okay. In this clipboard, we've got our client sleep assessment. These are the questions that we want to cover. If we don't cover these questions, we don't fulfill, I'm pointing down, you wouldn't see what I'm pointing to. We don't fulfill our wake up happy promise. We skip the step. We're out of that space of affirming. It becomes harder to ask our customer if they're ready to have this new mattress at home. It is that simple. But we didn't just arrive at the questions on this assessment easily. They were well thought out. We planned. What are the should ask questions? What are people missing? What are they focused on that needs an answer? But what should they be focused on second and third to support the first question and have the right outcome? So just the simple process of having a conversation, sit down in the lounge, get out your clipboard, have your assessment, ask the questions, becomes a quick 3-step system. And it's something that a lot of our competition just doesn't even do. They greet the customer, hey, welcome into the store, ABC. You're here for the big sale. Great. It's 80% off today, but you got to buy it right now because it ends tonight. Like, who wants to buy anything like that? So, and that's just not retail mattress stores. That's anything. So having those visual reminders, like a clipboard, having the lounge. I mean, we even have in our business, we have the floor. Waking up happy begins here, and there's an arrow on the floor pointing into the lounge. Around the whole store, all 4 walls are the 7 steps. So we create that environment to make it easy on our team that they can't skip step 3. We will not skip step 6 or step 7 or any step. Our whole environment is created to affirm we're going to be the right fit for the customer. It's not just 4 walls and some rectangles on the floor. And your selling environment shouldn't be that simple either. And we use, I was going to show, but I kind of botched it. But a lot of people know on the line here what a CRM, client relationship management software tool is. So we use one. We've built it for our industry. We've licensed it out to our industry in years past. Still have a little side business doing that. But for our business, our team gets an email. They click the link. This is what I wanted to show you. They click a link. They update the form. And this builds our customer list. It organizes what was sold. It offers eventually what wasn't sold to our customer because they just simply click a button. Sends out expectation communications. Here's what's going to happen on delivery. Here's how to prepare your house. Here's how we're going to operate in your home. If you have an issue, here's a phone number to talk directly to the owners. It manages our wow sequence, like mailing out these like 3 boxes of goodies. I don't do that. We don't touch it. We don't even approve the list to mail out anymore because our CRM manages a purchase price. And if it's a purchase price, they get X. If it's purchase price A, they get Y. If it's purchase price C, they get Z. Okay. All of that is done in one simple form. It takes our team 30 seconds to update it. Hands off, our business, the machine keeps running. And that's where E equals MC squared, right? The simple equation for the theory of relativity becomes so simple for everybody to get onto. But it becomes hard to have complexity when we don't have everything that I've gone over before. Because what are you putting into a process? What happens throughout the way? So like if you're not thinking about the greeting, like if you're not intentionally thinking about what you and your team are saying in person, on the phone, when a text message comes in, an email inquiry comes in, you need to think through if they say this, we say that. If they respond this way, we respond that way. And that if, then, this, and that format needs to be thought out all the way through everything you do, from how you greet, even going back. I shared our website with the quiz, and quiz funnels are a fantastic thing. There's a whole industry of quiz funnel coaches and marketers and solutions. These are a fantastic way to acquire customers and infuse experience into the business. But that is an example of E equals MC squared. There is complexity to that. Chris went through it as I was talking. And there are outcomes that happen, and how you respond to those inquiries and those results matter. And it's just more than, hey, if you want something from us, just fill out the form. See, having somebody matched up with that fit and having the result affirm it is very complex, but yet it looks so simple. So it happens on your site. It happens when you greet. These things need to be thought about in your sales process, when you don't sell and you have an opportunity to quote and follow up, how you deliver and fulfill, how you give referral, how you get reviews and referrals, and what happens if you're not. And then in how you wow. All of that becomes an important part of succeeding on Main Street. Because I guarantee you, the E equals MC squared component, this is actually where your big box corporate equity fund, Wall Street owned competition, this is where they start. Because they've got this kind of stuff. They have teams of people at desks at computers around the globe working on individual modalities. I share an example in my industry, and it's in yours, I'm sure. If you go to a shopping cart of your bigger online competitor, there are people who work simply on the function of when you don't complete the shopping cart. There are people who work on the copy of just the buttons in the shopping cart. All right. And yet here we are as Main Street business owners doing everything, being that ChEvO. That's the battle we're in. So we have to work in growth assets. We have to work with experiential touch points, and we have to work on installing things in our business that we can manage, clearly communicate an expectation, and have it simple for our team to execute and for our customers to experience. And that's how we really win on Main Street in this Amazon world. So as we wrap up that section, question for you: does anybody have E equals MC squared in their business, so to say? Are you what are your things that you make your processes? Do you have anything like that? You can just simply type yes or no. Again, that'll get you in for a comment. Chris, I went a little long there. I think we're going to wrap up. I asked till 1:15 or so, but
no, it's all good.
And
The participation from Monica and others and Ben in the chat, and so we've got plenty of entries. And the one thing I just wanted to touch on, if we could, and for those, maybe they're thinking like this as well, and thought about typing it, maybe didn't. It sounds like almost like an oxymoron, right? You're creating the complexity that you're talking about, but showcasing the simplicity. I mean, it sounds so simple, not, no pun intended, right? But why is it important for that? We know that all of these processes you're talking about, the CRMs, all of the stuff that you're doing, all these touch points, we know it's complicated.
right.
But why is it important to showcase it more simply?
Well, I mean, I'll channel the inner Shark Tank answer, right? Squish you like the cockroach you are. It's if you're not taking the effort to create, implement, test what's good and bad, right? So you're going to create things, and some things are going to take off like a rocket ship, and other things aren't. But you have to create, try, test for result. Take the successful things forward as systems in your business, because once you've got something successful that works, your team can execute on, follow the steps. Your customer says, wow, that was so amazing, so simple, so easy. Like we have, again, our reviews, we have many, many reviews to that. You made the process easy. I was viewing this like going to the dentist and getting a tooth removed, right? Many testimonials to that effect. That's when you know you've got a great system. And without, your business is vulnerable. Like the next big hammer that can come along and just knock your business out can happen. They can outspend you, they can outgrow you, they can out advertise you. And it can be very cutthroat. But when you lay out the business to work in these big ticket methodologies with growth assets, with experiential touch points, creating complex systems and making them be simple and executed on, you have a business that now is impervious to this kind of stuff, and you can withstand those pressures. And it can all be done where it's very, very sane. And, again, I want people to do life. I want people doing life and business on their terms. So it just needs to happen.
Very cool. And Monica's got a CRM that for her business with her specialists. So that's part of her E equals MC squared. And Mr. Mac Nation is appreciating you. And Mr. Mac Nation and anyone else who's chimed in, Johnny Hoover,
Mac Nation,
and some other folk.
Now there's real quick. There's a guy doing big ticket life. If it's who I'm thinking of. If it's who I'm thinking of, Mr. Kevin, we coach football together. This dude gives back, lives life on his terms.
Awesome.
We do need to catch up. But anyway,
Mr. Mac Nation, let us know what your favorite charity is in the chat. And if you're watching right now and you have not done it, we're about to pull the starter on the Prizelator and get that thing cranked up. And Jeff's going to empty his wallet and give $100 to your favorite charity. So Mr. Mac Nation and anyone else who's chimed in throughout the day that hasn't given us your favorite charity, please do so, because we're about to fire up the Prizelator, trademarked by Mr. Jeff Giannakavo.
That's right. So listen, as we wrap this up, I want you as a big ticket business owner really living that big ticket life. I don't want you worried about what Amazon's offering, what this new competition is doing coming down the road into your market. I want you to take what you've seen today, heard today, we'll touch on tomorrow, to set up that foundation for freedom in your business, right? I want you here to set up that big ticket business to serve you first, right? That works for you, for your business. And these principles work in most any Main Street type business selling face-to-face. I've done this with bowling centers, decking and railing companies, insurance agencies, chiropractors, real estate investment companies, furniture stores, financial planners. All of them have squish-proof businesses because of these big ticket methodologies. And they've all got the competition we've talked about. They all fight on Main Street in an Amazon world. So that foundational path is very important for their success, for your success. And it doesn't need to involve price, loss leaders, finance offers. Like, this is elevated selling. All right. When you elevate your selling, when you elevate your process, you elevate your methodologies, use the big ticket methods we talked about today, you are squish proof and your business is impervious to that competition that comes in. Tomorrow, we'll discover how you use those methods to finally, secure that big ticket life that you deserve, put it all together. And I want you to unlock freedom and fortune for yourself. But most importantly, you can do all that without the stress that you're used to. All right. So that's what we've got. Chris, I think it's time for the prize giveaway. Well, for the donation.
Oh, we'll have to redraw.
Yeah, we have to get that function of the prize later fixed.
Terms and conditions. You cannot win your own prize, Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't win that. You can't win it twice.
Can't win twice.
The suspense is building for Monica and for Mr. Mac Nation and everyone else here. Who's going to? There it is.
Steve. All right, Boise Rescue.
The Boise Rescue
Awesome.
Mission Ministries. Steve Hauk, congratulations, and I'm sure you guys will connect. You know each other very well, so awesome stuff.
All right, very good. Thank you everybody for tuning in to day 2. I know we went a little long. Hope you found it. I'm sure you found it useful. And I'm looking forward to seeing you same time, same place tomorrow for the final day. How to win on Main Street in the Amazon world. See you tomorrow. If you're going to live a big ticket life and do business in life on your terms, you got to do big things. It's that kind of discernment, that kind of focus, that kind of forward thinking that's so important if you're going to succeed in business today. And so you unlock fortune and freedom without all the stress that normally comes along with it. The things that make your life successful so you do life and business on your terms.